There's no official rescue team here. All the rescuers are volunteers, but all of the people in trouble were associated with various groups down here at base camp, so pretty much every single camp had volunteers that very quickly got ready and started climbing up into the icefall to see if they could help. A big part of the problem was that the avalanche had taken out the route between here and where the people were stuck. We had to wait quite a while for the helicopters to come from Kathmandu, but eventually we started seeing injured climbers coming down and more critical climbers being airlifted down to the hospital tent here at base camp.
And so what are the latest numbers on that of people who've been brought back, both dead and alive?
It's been very chaotic today to find out exactly what the numbers are. I believe 16 people are dead. And several people critically injured. Some have been airlifted back to Kathmandu. And again, 10 to 15 people who managed to walk out of the avalanche.
And what about the dead? I mean, have the bodies been brought back?
One of the most horrific sights I've ever seen on Everest has been today, seeing the bodies being airlifted on long lines below the helicopters. They've been brought back down to base camp, and some of the expedition leaders and the lead Sherpas will spend tomorrow and however long it takes bringing the bodies back to their families further down in the valley.
And is it clear that they were all Sherpas?
Yes, I believe all of the people who were caught in the avalanche were Nepalese.
So what would they have been doing?
Well, our plan was to start climbing Everest last night, which would have put us exactly in the path of the avalanche. We decided to delay for 24 hours on the advice of the Sherpas, who wanted to have another day laying in ropes and camps further up the mountain. So all the Sherpas, early this morning, about 4 o'clock this morning, left base camp and started climbing up with loads, with ropes, with equipment, with food even, for all of the climbers who are expecting to climb the mountain. They got most of the way to Camp 1 before the avalanche came down and completely wiped away the path that they were following. And as I say, it killed 16 people.
So these were your Sherpas? They were working for you?
Some of the Sherpa group were working for us. We lost 5 members of our team this morning.
That must be devastating.
It's absolutely devastating. The atmosphere here at base camp is of shock and now of grieving. 16 people is a huge amount of people to be lost in one morning. I believe it's the worst ever disaster in Everest history, if not all mountaineering.
And will you and other people there go ahead with your expeditions?
I'd think that many of the expeditions here will pack up and go home. For this number of people to die at the very beginning of the season is completely unacceptable. We came here looking for adventure, to celebrate Everest, but for something like this to happen makes the whole thing seem pointless to me, and I believe that will be the same for many people here. People come here partly to take the risk of climbing a high mountain like this at extreme altitude, and they all understand those risks, but still when something this large happens, I think we all have to question what we're doing here.
How much more of this recovery operation is there to do? I mean, do you know how many people are still left on the mountain?
Yes, the recovery was called off this afternoon because of the icefall heating up and the danger to the rescuers. There is no chance that there are any survivors now, so it really is a recovery operation. The recovery operation will start again at first light tomorrow morning. There are volunteers from every single camp here, very skilled mountaineers and very skilled rescuers. We also have helicopter support, and we're hoping that this whole episode will be finished, at least in recovery terms, by tomorrow.
Do you know how many people are yet to be recovered? And do you know that you know all their locations, or is that still to be determined?
No, the recovery operation, which starts tomorrow morning, will split into 2 teams. The first team is recovering the bodies of our members, which we know their position. The other half of the team will be searching, purely searching through the rubble of the avalanche today. We managed to find some of the bodies, but some of the bodies are stuck in the ice and need to be dug out before they can be airlifted back to base camp and back to their hometowns.
Just finally, Ed, I mean, some of these people were working for you. You must have known them, and that must be devastating. I mean, what can you tell us about these men as individuals?
The Sherpa community in the Khumbu Valley here is supported and employed by the climbing industry for a great part of the year here. So yes, we do take some blame in that, and there's a huge amount of guilt here among the Western climbers that these Sherpas were carrying equipment for us and preparing the route for us. But I have no doubt that the Sherpa community also welcomes this industry to their valley, and it will continue to support them.
They're very brave men, aren't they?
The Sherpas are a very brave community of men and their families, most of them in some way linked to this industry on the mountain. They're very strong climbers, and many of them very skilled now. So there's a huge respect for them and their communities here. And I think the agreement today amongst everybody here at base camp is that the mountain is closed for now. Nobody will be climbing.